Good morning. This is Baton Rouge Labor Radio. This is the last hour. We hope you've enjoyed the music of Bruce Springsteen. And we're joined by a special guest of the head of the Cap Fund staff, Dr. Ernest Johnson. Dr. Johnson, we're on now? The one thing I've been meaning, I was hoping you would come in here one day that I could ask you about is that patent that you have. But first, let me introduce everything. We are on tape. And I went in the other room and looked at it. It's amazing. I've also had a coach at Prescott Junior High that invented Herschel Mears, the automatic thing that throws the basketball up. Okay. Never used it really, but and the Sacro Wedgie is the only reason I'm walking. The little wedge under your back. Yes. But we're Baton Rouge Labor Radio, and along with Neil Paul Miller, what mic is that? 5? Okay, 6. I don't know what 6 is.
Let me just, if I talk, then you ought to be able to look at that and see if I'm.
And you're not. No, yeah, you're not.
A little bit more. Make
okay.
More
Okay.
Well, let me just say this. I'm glad to be here this morning and to be on Baton Rouge Labor Radio with you guys. I'm glad you invited me to come over. We're going to try to get this sound straight for a minute.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty much a technology idiot, Dr. Johnson. Okay, yeah,
I'll just push them off.
There you go. That'll work. We got to get the right one.
I should be up now, but it doesn't seem.
It's not working. Oh, whoa. Okay, here we go. 5. Now we're cooking with green. We're good. We should be good now.
Yes. We are. Okay.
Dr. Ernest Johnson, and we're sitting in with Neil Paul Miller, business manager of Plumbers and Steam Fitters, Local 198. Good morning, Dr. Johnson.
Okay, good morning again, and it's good to be here on Baton Rouge Labor Radio. And let me make an announcement. What we decided to do was to take this program to Alexandria, Shreveport, and Monroe. And so at the end of the month, because we're streaming live over the internet at www.wtkt.
And a very good stream.
Okay, so we can take the live stream, and we have TV stations in Alexandria, Monroe, and Shreveport, and we converted them to digital about a year ago. And when we converted to digital, we get 4 channels, like you've seen 33.1, 2, 3, 4.
I got the antenna.
So in Alexandria, Shreveport, and Monroe, we're digital, and so we have an extra channel, and we're going to put WTQT live on channel 38.2 in Ellick and 31.2 in Shreveport and 45.2 in Monroe. So now we won't just be Baton Rouge Labor Radio. Let's just say we'll be Louisiana Labor Radio.
Hey, we are.
Great.
And we're getting a lot of interest from the political types that want to come on here.
Okay.
That shocked me because we were at another radio station, and God bless them, but for the time we've been on here, we've had a lot of interest.
So that's great, and I'm just glad that you guys are on WTQT.
We're proud to be here.
Okay, and we, NAACP, and of course just the African American community overall has a very close relationship with labor unions. I tell the story all the time to Lewis. My father worked at a sawmill in Faraday, Louisiana, and I can recall when he made 25 cents an hour. And I say, if those guys had been organized as into a labor union there, they would have made a little bit more money than 25 cents an hour.
It made at least 35.
Well, Dr. Johnson, I personally want to thank you for inviting us to come on board over here. I know it was a little bit of finagling to do it, but again, thank you. I want to personally thank you. I mean, we've enjoyed it. We've been here for about a month now, huh, Mike? 4 weeks? And
we've been here,
about a month and been treated like gold here.
Well, thank you very much.
Been treated very well.
Like I say, we're going to take it to another level, and we're going to be statewide. And what we're going to do because remember I say we're going to have the radio on TV, right?
Right.
So we're going to have the sound coming through, streaming live, but what we're going to do is put pictures on. And so I told Jackie, the program director here, to make sure we get pictures of all of the people on the program and stuff.
Look, if you want to turn people off, just take a picture of this mug over here. And
so everybody can see who it is.
I got a picture of my house, of him in my house on my wall.
Yeah.
That way it eliminates the exterminator bill. That's great, really, for the people over in those areas, Alexandria, Shreveport,
and Monroe.
And Monroe.
Yes.
And we have union, affiliate pipe fitter unions in those cities.
Right.
For all the building trades.
We got to send some faxes out, Neil.
Yes, right. Yeah, right.
We got to get things going. Dr. Johnson, like I said, I've been wanting to ask you about that
invention
patent you have in there, and is there any way I can use it?
Let me tell you what that is.
Tell us about that and when and everything. I know it's on the website. That's where I read it.
Okay. Well,
WCQ2.org.
Yes, it's called the Ready Wash. And I guess maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, because I'm from Faraday, you know. So I was.
You are from Faraday.
Yeah, I'm from Faraday, and so I was in the hills of Natchez, you know, between Baton Rouge and Natchez. You got hills going right on the other side of Woodville. So I was in these hills, and I was just, you know, always be, you know, talking with God when I'm on the highway by myself. That's the only entity I can visit with, you know. So so one day we talked about, me and God was talking about, you could have a washing machine. And then they came up with a machine that dried the dishes and stuff like that. And then there was a washing machine that washed clothes. Then they had a dryer. And so then we focused on hair. Said, well, we got a hair dryers, but we didn't have no shampoo machines that automatically shampoo the hair. And so I cut a little something out of a box top and created this invention that's sitting in that room in there. And that's an automatic shampoo machine. And it massages the head.
It looks pretty neat. Wish I could use it.
Yeah, and look, it's just sitting there.
No need for you,
so
Neil.
some people want to say, well, why is it sitting there? And I had this genius over in Opelousas after we filed the patent, and I actually got a patent on it. The only other type machine like this is one that's created by some Japanese, come out of Japan. And when we filed it, we had no idea that the Japanese had something that was pending. They didn't have their patent either. And the patent office turned that thing down about 4 or 5 times. And we kept going. And the patent office agreed to allow ours because we got those little spinning things on. You see those little spinning things on there? They would be inset in there, and they would spin the water out. And it's automatic. It would give you first cycle, rinse your hair. Second cycle, shampoo your hair. Third cycle, rinse your hair. Next cycle would condition if you need it.
Scalp.
But see what happened, that agitation that takes place, that agitation is what really helps the scalp out. Now the agitation came because you remember the old washing machines that used to go one side back and forth. Remember that old?
Yeah.
Well, that was agitation that was used to clean the clothes. So the same agitation principle works in this machine. That's basically how we got the patent, was the agitation. But it came off of the agitation from the washing machine.
Now, Dr. Johnson, don't let Neil Miller stick his head in there, or you're going to be on Judge Joe Brown or something, you know what I'm saying? Judge Joe will have to figure this one out, you know? He'll claim something about missing hair or follicles or something, you know? I mean, if he loses 2 or 3 more, I mean, come on, it's over.
Well, look at me now.
Dr. Johnson, what do you have coming up? Anything?
I'm glad you asked. At the end of this month, September 27 and 28, the Louisiana NAACP will be having our 71st convention at the Marriott Hotel in Baton Rouge, over off of College Drive.
Is this held annually, or?
Yes, every year, and it's been going now for 71 years. It's our 71st year. I've been president of state NAACP for almost 20 years. So when I came in, we were like the 50th anniversary. Now we're at the 71st anniversary. So the NAACP goes on and on. It's been around for 104 years. Started in 1909, and fight for civil rights, equal rights. in all areas, including jobs, where we partner with you guys at economic development and jobs, because we just believe that we need to have higher wages in America, and we need to keep our jobs in America rather than having them go all over the place. It makes our country stronger. And so I've just been around the organization, also on the National Board of Directors. I was blessed to get on the National Board of Directors in 2007. And since that time, I've, been working in the vineyard. Volunteer, by the way.
Well, in your 21 years, what's the biggest changes you've seen as far as equality?
Well,
or have you?
Well, and then you have mountaintops, and so we've been high up on the mountain, moving forward. I would say since 1964, when we had the Civil Rights Act created. But we've seen some erosions, even this year with the Supreme Court setting us back in the Voting Rights Act, saying that jurisdictions that are covered under what they call Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, which they have to send for administrative preclearance any type of voting change. The Supreme Court didn't declare that unconstitutional, but said that we need to come up with new formulas to see whether or not discrimination still exists as to why you need to have certain protections. And it's unfortunate that we would have a court in this America that would say we don't know if discrimination still exists, especially with Clarence Thomas on the court. African Americans have to take responsibility for Clarence Thomas, but Clarence Thomas' thought process is totally off, and we have to continue to work to make those changes. So after 21 years, I thought that we had gotten to a point where we're doing well. I can go ahead and retire from this volunteer job, and all of a sudden I see where we really have to keep going and keep fighting.
Now, Dr. Johnson, I'm going to give you an opinion here, and don't jump to conclusions.
Okay.
I'm glad they're doing the voter repression. You know why?
Okay.
I saw what happened in Florida.
Yeah.
They tried to take those people's votes, and those people said, "You're not taking my vote."
Yeah.
They stood in line for hours. I'm not glad, but I'm saying I see the backfire on it.
Well, the push.
People's not going to sit and say, "You know what?" The numbers came out.
Yeah,
the numbers came out.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't think. I'd rather not. I'm not glad.
I understand. In other words, we need that push sometimes.
The push, when somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to take your house,
right.
I'm going to take your job, and I'm going to take your right to vote," people stand up and fight.
Right, and I'm encouraged. I think sometimes we do need to push because, apathy comes in, indifference come in, and once people think they've made it, well, we don't have to do this and that. I always remind people in the last governor's election in Louisiana, we had a 30% turnout, total statewide turnout in the election, and 20% in the African-American community. With the right to vote being as precious as it is, and with people having fought for the right to vote, and we can make changes when we go out to vote. Basically, that's one of the few places where we can, in America, everybody be equal. We got one vote. We can go out and make changes. And with more people voting, we can see tremendous changes. So what we see is the result of a minority of people voting, controlling the way the society is going. And I think what happened in Florida, I think the Supreme Court case this year is stirring people up. And I'm encouraged that we have a senatorial election next year. We have our statewide elections the year after that. We have programs like this that's coming over the air on a regular basis so that people are not just hearing from us when the campaigns start, but they're hearing from us when the campaigns are not going on, that we can change the mindset of our people and get them really involved in how the government is operating. I think we can see a change. So I'm very hopeful. And I agree with you that we need to have things like that sometimes, so-called setback. But I believe God do things, all things work together for the good, for those who love the Lord. And I believe the Lord allows certain things to happen to get his people stirred up. So I'm encouraged. I
really believe that. And like I said, people have to stand up for what they've got, and the vote is the root of everything that we can change.
That's it.
I mean, that's the only thing you really got. You know, a lot of things don't go our way, even with people that we support.
Right.
And but I said, man, I can't believe. I mean, they interviewed people that were standing in line 2-3 hours.
Yes.
To vote.
Yes.
Now, I've never experienced that here, but I did over where I vote. What are we doing?
Keep going.
Go. Radio's not on?
Online.
Oh, no, online. Every now and then that happens. But anyway, I've never experienced that. But over where I vote at Villa Del Rey Elementary, Villa Del Rey Elementary, there were long lines. And I'd like to get it out to the people that are disabled or handicapped. If you want to go vote, you don't have to stand in those long lines, okay? They will take you to the front of the line.
And that's in every district.
Well, yeah, in every district, but that's not well publicized, you know? And what? You know, it's not really well publicized. I didn't know this. But they will take you to the front of the line. You know, if you've got a hard time, you need a little assistance getting around or something like that. But anyway, Neil, and
I got to get out of here.
Okay, Dr. Johnson, I appreciate it.
Change the conversation. I heard y'all talking about Brother Ernest Stevens and all that food and stuff he was eating. Now, where did that take place at?
Many union.
He likes food. I imagine he's listening right now.
Yeah, I would say he is, you know.
But look, it's good being here. I usually travel on weekends, but I'm here today, and I do intend to come back. I made Lewis and Ernest a commitment that I'd be on as much as you guys will allow me.
Wow.
Because I think we need to just keep stirring up folk and bringing the truth to the community so people can, be aware of certain things that
Well,
going on.
I think what you said, and I hope that's what we've been trying to do to the listeners is to get the mindset that vote does count.
Yes.
And you made the comment 30% and only 20%.
Right.
Yeah, that's really
we can't accept that. With people in Florida standing in line for 3-4 hours.
What we can't blame what's going on in this political system when we don't go vote.
Don't go vote. That's
and we've got a governor in there that he's got a national agenda.
Yes.
It's not for Louisiana.
Right.
And we only got 20% of the vote out. That's a shame.
Yeah. But we'll do better.
We're going to do a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
We do appreciate it.
Neil, I want to go into this thing real quick. You're listening to Baton Rouge Labor Radio. We're on WTQT 106.1 LPFM, and that was Dr. Ernest Johnson, CEO of the CAP Fund and president of the Louisiana chapter of the NAACP. And, Neil, this morning, I know we probably got another caller calling in, but I wanted to read a letter that I got. I'm been having little medical difficulties, and they had it's a medical device that helps the healing of a wound. It's called a wound vac. And I wasn't given any notice or anything. They said, hey, we're going to put this vac on you. They're going to mail it to your house. And I'm thinking my insurance is going to cover it. And, anyway, I got this letter yesterday after I'd already had the vac for like 2 weeks, this wound vac. And 2 To rent this vacuum cleaner, a vacuum, is $4,380 a month, 20% of which I am financially responsible. And, you know, they talk about this tax on medical devices. I don't know what it is right off. And, I mean, they're renting this device for $4,380 a month. And I don't know if that includes the tax from the Obamacare or what, but to rent a device for $4,380 a month that makes me heal quicker and I can carry on my shoulder, I think that's a little excessive. I'm not buying the device. They're renting me the device. And if you don't mail it back to them, they send you a bill for $6,000. Okay? And I just wanted to bring that up that, you know, people say, well, you know, who do you trust? Do you trust? Well, no, we don't trust the government. And I don't totally trust the government in full. Own a device. This is a monthly rental. Neil, I got to say it, to me, that's just stealing, man. Stealing. My bill on this thing, if I didn't mail it back to, they're supposed to be trying to work something out, roughly $900 a month. That's get the glitches out.
Right, and that's with any new thing that you incorporate. I mean, you had glitches with Social Security. You're going to have glitches with this, and you just work things out. I mean, it's what's for the betterment of the general public. Mike, we've been sitting here talking about the upcoming elections. Dr. Johnson was mentioned about Mary Landrieu coming up. Mary Landrieu has been a champion as far as I'm concerned. I think a lot of the listeners are concerned for Louisiana. She's not as far left wing as a lot of people would like to see her, but she toes the line. She does. I think she does what's right for Louisiana, and we need to reelect her because we've got some we've got people that are coming in to run against her. The last thing we need is Cassidy in that office. I don't think he would have the mindset of all of Louisiana, not just big corporations like he does now. I mean, he's been against everything that the working people in Louisiana are for. And we just don't need him in office. We need Mary. She's been a champion. She's brought money to Louisiana when nobody else could, and I think she's a great candidate to do this. And we're supposed to have a couple of phone calls coming in here in a little bit, and right quick, the plumbers and pipe fitters, Local 198 is going to be needing combination welders. So if you are a pipe welder and you can heliarc and stick rod, we would love to have you come by and talk to us. We've got a project coming up at the end of the month that we're going to be needing a lot of welders on. And the address to the Union Hall is 5888 Airline Highway. It's located it's on the Airline Highway right across the street from the old Earl K. Long Hospital. And we really are going to need a lot of welders for not just this project, for other projects that are coming up. And we've just now got our apprenticeship enrollment up. We took in some new apprentices. Matter of fact, they started school, I think, 2 weeks ago. We're we're rolling with that. We've got the course of the people all in the classes. I'm gonna go by there next week and check on them and make my rounds through the deals. But we also have welders coming in on the nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. Doing a little pre-test as far as your heliarc and your stick rod. We've got our organizer Chuck LeBlanc is out there, trying to recruit people for this upcoming work. The great thing about being with organized labor is that we do supply you with health care. We do have a pension plan, which is pretty state of the art pension plan as far as everybody is concerned with it. It's not, if you look at Social Security now, it's hard just to live off of Social Security, and I'm talking to people out there that are living on Social Security alone. So the pension plan, once you get involved with our local and you get established with your pension, when you retire, you've got another income coming in besides Social Security. And again, I know for a fact it's hard to survive on Social Security. I was reading the paper the other day, and they're talking about cutting food stamps. And when they, and this is a Republican Party, it's a big push in the Farm Bill about cutting food stamps, and how since the recession started, this is the worst recession since the Great Depression that we've had, and food stamps have almost doubled across the country. And a lot of these places that you have the food stamps have doubled, they're in Republican territories. I mean, I was reading one thing where I think it was in Kentucky, one of the representatives over there that is animate about cutting all these programs. In his area alone, there was Mitt Romney got 81% of the vote in his county, and but yet he's sitting there wanting. I mean, Mitt Romney got the majority in that county, and food stamps in his area, did this, and they were interviewing an elderly lady that was on Social Security, and she was getting, I think, $300 and something a month, but she also was trying to raise 3 grandchildren. And we've got that across America, and we need to continue to help these people that are trying to raise their kids and grandkids, and they're just down on their luck. And $300 and something don't buy a whole lot of groceries for 4 people. And, for them to come up and want to do this, it's a shame. If y'all will, hold on one second. We got a caller.
If you got the equipment, you want to hire them? Hold.
Oh, hold up.
Hold it.
It hung up.
It hung up?
Yeah. Try it again.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well, we're back. We're back.
Caller, if you that was a technical error on my part, I think, but if you will call back. We are in the process right now of we've got the tech support in here looking at the equipment here, but anyhow, I was talking about some different programs. One of them was the food stamp program that they're trying to cut, and we need to start paying attention to that. I mean, it's if you look at what the Republican side is doing, I mean, they are in opposition on everything that President Barack Obama is doing, and everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is.
No, he could pass. He could try to get a New York City and handed out their own $100 bills out of their pocket, and they'd be against that.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, it's pathetic what's going on right now. But what do? You just got to work around it. And, hey, to our caller that called in, please call back. We're looking for fresh voices on here. And as Dr. Ernest Johnson revealed this morning, we're going to Monroe, Alexandria, and Shreveport. I don't know when that's going to begin, but hopefully soon, Neil. And I'm sure Neil's going to be faxing out stuff to our affiliate unions in those areas, the building and trades, letting them know that they can have a voice on Baton Rouge Labor Radio. So, anyway, Neil, I agree with you that it's just gridlock. I think they've taken the 42nd or 43rd vote to defund, something to do with getting rid of Obamacare, okay? They don't want to fund it. They this, that, the other. And it just goes on and on. And I'm just wondering, with all of this going on, it seems like it would be a progressive groundswell against the guy. And it's not. And I don't understand it, whether it's people don't trust government or what's going on.
It's like the general administration. I was talking to somebody. I was on the road at the time, but they were listening to the town hall meeting with Cassidy, and somebody was really on him about he's got
who
the doctor of the poor,
the doctor of the self.
And again, I wasn't privy to listening to it, but when I was talking to the guy, he was listening to it, and he said they had a lady that was really coming down on him because his ideology, his theory behind it was the same as the general administration about turning down
Medicaid expansion money.
Yeah, turning it down.
High-speed rail money. Yeah. It could go on and on.
Of all states that should be accepting it, it's Louisiana. I mean,
really? Arkansas found a way to take the money. The conservative governor of Arkansas. Matter of fact, Neil, they had a letter, and I know you don't read the paper until in the evening.
Yes.
Okay? But there's a letter in the Advocate this morning, and the lady pretty much nailed it, okay? She nailed it. And if you don't mind, I would like to go to her letter.
Yeah, go to it.
This is a letter in today's Advocate. Arkansas shows Louisiana folly. And the lady writes in, on October the 1st, uninsured Americans can sign up for health insurance on the private market. Unlike single-payer systems in Western Europe, the United States model is a free market prototype once championed, and this is true, by the conservative Heritage Foundation.
Oh, absolutely.
States can create healthcare exchanges to benefit their marketplaces and are allowed flexibility in using federal funding to expand Medicaid to those making under $30,675, which is a lot of people around here, Neil, for a family of four. 133% of the federal poverty level. Louisiana and Arkansas approached Obamacare's states' rights and private sector's opportunities differently. Governor Jindal placed a stake in the ground declaring Louisiana would have no part of Obamacare, banking on the law's failure. Arkansas Republican legislature initially opposed Obamacare. However, both parties struck a bipartisan compromise. Compromise! Whoa!
They don't know what that word is.
Compromise! Expected to pay dividends in health and economic outcomes. So what did Arkansas do? Arkansas created a federal-state partnership exchange that will create jobs and expand private sector opportunities. In many areas of Arkansas and Louisiana, only one insurer offers coverage, resulting in no potential free market competitive cost savings regarding premiums and cost of care. Now, Arkansans who seek insurance through an exchange will have at least two different choices of insurers. Second, Arkansas accepts the Medicaid money without growing the state's Medicaid rolls. They successfully appeal to the federal government to improve an innovative plan. New Medicaid recipients will receive assistance in purchasing private sector health care insurance that will follow them as their earning capacity increases. By 2016, a RAND study shows that Arkansas will have approximately 400,000 newly insured residents. Let me read that again. By 2016, that's less than 3 years, Neil. A RAND study shows Arkansas will have 400,000 newly insured residents. A GDP increase of $550 million and 6,200 new jobs due to increased insurance coverage. The uncompensated care burden will no longer impose a hidden tax to consumers through higher rates and premiums. The system will eventually level out, reversing skyrocketing health care trends of the past decade. Fewer Arkansas families will suffer personal bankruptcy because of health care costs, and expenses will become more reasonable as chronic diseases are better managed. Small businesses and employers will enjoy a healthier, more productive workforce with less absenteeism. Cost savings to the state will offset associated with the expansion. Governor Jindal will forfeit billions of Louisiana taxpayers' dollars to states like Arkansas to improve their workforces and make businesses competitive, while 400,000 Louisianans eligible for Medicaid expansion will be shut out of health care. His decision to deny 400,000 Louisianians health care is doubtably harsh, as many will not be eligible for subsidies to buy health care through the federal exchange. This fundamental denial of health care and failure to take state action in building exchanges designed to benefit Louisiana's economy is bad economics and will not make our state less will make our state less healthy and less competitive. Louisiana can and should do better. This is April Springfield Blanco, who is self-employed in Shreveport, Louisiana. Thank you, Ms. Blanco. You nailed it.
Well, and I mean, she's talking about the general administration, but we've got Bill Cassidy, Representative Bill Cassidy.
The doctor, the self-proclaimed doctor of the poor, worked at the charity hospital. Hold on. Neil, we got a call. Don't we? Hello? Good morning.
Yeah, press it here.
It went off.
Oh.
You're not answering. I don't know.
Well,
okay, we're trying to get calls here. I don't know what's happening. We got a call? Okay, in comes Jackie. Oh, I hit the wrong button. What a shocker, huh? What a shocker. Okay. Thank you, Jackie. We Huh? Ernest, we all speak well of you. This is Ernest Stevens, special assistant to the president of the Louisiana AFL-CIO, Louis Wren. Good morning, Big E.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning, Ernest. How you doing this morning?
Good, man. How y'all doing?
What's on your mind? Did you read that letter this morning, Ernest?
No, Mike, you know I'm having a little eye trouble, so reading is a little bit beyond me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're moving on with that, though.
Did you hear Mike talk
did you
about
hear
how
the
much
letter?
fish he could eat? You could eat?
No, I didn't. What was the letter?
Well, the woman goes on about the, Governor General turning down the Medicaid expansion money and how Arkansas is benefiting from it. And the other story you missed, we figured you were hearing, was that guy cooking 100 pounds of catfish out at Southern University, and I said, is that all he's cooking? Ernest could probably handle that in a couple of games over there, you know?
Yeah, that wasn't enough catfish, Mike. I could do 100 pounds in one day.
A little tartar sauce there, huh, E?
That's it. A little tartar and a little hot sauce, and we got a fish fry.
Well, what's on your mind this morning, Ernest?
I was just calling Mike to see y'all. I still think y'all are doing a fine job, and
Ernest,
congratulate you on a job well done.
Dr. Johnson told us that we're going to be expanding. We're going to be going to Shreveport,
Monroe, and Alexandria.
So we're going
like good news to me.
Yeah.
Moving on, moving up. We got to get the word out over there, Ernest.
Yeah.
You know,
Ernest, we were just talking about the general administration turning all this the money down from the federal government for the health care system. And I was telling Mike that I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was listening to the Bill Cassidy town hall meeting, and
the self-proclaimed doctor of the poor.
And we've got an upcoming election in a year, and Dr. Johnson was in here a while ago, and he was talking about the percentage of the voters in Louisiana during the last governor's race was 30%. Only 20% of that was minority. Only 20% of the minority got out and voted. We can and we will make a difference if we get the vote out. Part of the problem is we've got an upcoming senator election, and we've got Bill Cassidy running against Mary Landrieu. And Bill Cassidy in this town hall meeting said that he mirrors everything that the general administration's been doing. And one of the things is denying government help for the Affordable Health Care Act. And Mike was just reading from the article in the paper about it's going to affect 400,000 Louisiana families. That's a lot of people, and and that's what we were talking about.
And that's a fact. But again, it shows that he just blatantly disregards the poor and the people here in the state of Louisiana. Now there's no doubt he can't run again. But our main objective is to get a candidate in that race, get behind a candidate, and then get that voter turnout. Registering folks to vote is good, but getting them out to vote is what we need to do on election day.
Well, and I mean, we've got, the governor's race in 2 years, but right now we really need to focus on the senator's race.
No, the senator's race, and then we've got a congressional race, a special election in October 19th is the date
That's
for the
right.
5th congressional district. That's where we need to start. That needs to be the springboard. We do all we can and start to work at turning out votes. And then after that October 19th election, for the Senate election, we look at where we fell short in October, and we work from there and build. And by the time we come around to the governor's election in 2 years, we should have perfected that thing and be ready to turn them out.
Well, and I don't think, I really believe that if we do what we need to do, that we can do the springboard in October. And I know we've got a lot of candidates. Have we narrowed it down yet, or are we going to? I mean, I know we've got some very good candidates that are running for that position.
We've got some good candidates. We've got some good friends in that race. We haven't narrowed it down. What happens with the AFL-CIO and the unions per se? Those endorsements come from the state Fed. They don't come from the local central bodies. We would have to have a COPE convention or a special executive board meeting, a poll of the executive board to actually endorse a candidate. Now, we can get out and work with our friends to try and help, but we just haven't actually made a formal endorsement of any one candidate yet.
Do you know on the top of your head how many candidates are running?
It's somewhere between 11 and 14. I can't remember the exact number, Neil.
And do you know the how many Republicans, how many Democrats?
I can tell you 3 Democrats for sure that are in the race, and I think the rest of them may be Republicans or maybe some independents. But I know 3 Democrats for sure.
Well, and that race is a big race as far as the state of Louisiana is concerned too. When you get up to to D.C. with all that.
When you look at that race, that's the chance for us to gain a seat actually on the Democrats. We had Rodney Alexander in there who started out as Democrat. I think he switched the day that he qualified to the Republican Party. It hadn't been real bad for us all the time, but still he has that R behind his name. This is a chance for us to get behind a Democrat, work, and put a Democrat in that 5th congressional seat. From what I understand, you asked about how many Democrats were in the race. Some of the Republicans in the race are not satisfied with what they would call their front-runner candidates because they know a deal was cut. And a deal was cut that excluded them to give one particular candidate the edge, and quite a few of them are not satisfied with that.
Well,
this is our chance to get out and get a Democratic candidate that we can get behind and get it elected to the 5th congressional district.
And one thing that needs to be etched in people's minds is that the general administration is the one that orchestrated all this. It is what it is. So if you're dissatisfied with it,
they set it all up. It was a closed door deal, and they broke it. But the thing that helps us as union members is the fact that we've got so many state employees in that 5th congressional district. State employees that are disgruntled because of what the general administration did to them, closing the prisons, closing the hospitals, cutting deals, as you say, that help those people land on the unemployment rolls. And if they remember that and get out and vote, they can make a difference.
And Ernest, I believe that sometimes the privatization, it looks good, but then the bottom line is when you start to look at how state government has privatized a lot of things over the years, in the long run, you don't save money, because once you lay off these state employees, you get rid of the equipment. You get rid of all the things, and 3 years from now, you have no employees, you have no equipment to do the job, and these new people coming in saying, "Oh, we can save you this money." Yeah, they save you the money for the first few years, but after that, they really don't, because they go up on their price. They offer no kind of health care. They offer no kind of pension plan or anything like that for when this employee gets older. So in the long run, it costs the state. That's my opinion.
It costs quite a bit more, Neil. Not only does it costs the state because they go up on the prices because they've got to purchase equipment. But when you look at those employees that were laid off, a year, 2 years down the line, they're still not employed. Then they become patients at the charity hospitals. They're still on unemployment. They're looking for welfare assistance. So it hurts us all, all the way down the line. One way or another, the state is going to take care of them.
Oh yeah, and that's what we keep preaching on this show about. One of the advantages of why people, why the state government, or why there's so many anti-union, upper echelon in state government is why they're anti-union. I'll never understand it, because look at how much money over the years that organized labor has saved the state by offering health care to its membership. So each person that is on health care is one less person that's going to be using the charity hospital.
That's right. That's exactly right.
The charity system. And again, when you start looking at...
Well, look at the people that are going into the emergency rooms.
Yeah.
That's the big cost.
Yeah, and that's a big cost, and if you had health insurance, they could be going to one of these outpatient deals, or what do they call those things now? Little medical clinics. They could be going to the clinics and doing a $20 copay instead of sitting in an emergency room for 6 hours to get cold medication.
Well, let me tell you about the emergency room. 2 weeks ago, I had to go to the emergency room. I went to Our Lady of the Lake. And there were so many people there, they've actually started downstairs what they call a fast-track ER to try and help funnel some of the people through there that don't have real serious injuries or life-threatening illnesses, that they can send them down the fast track and kind of move them along a little bit faster. That's just how business has picked up at Our Lady of the Lake since Earl K. Long was closed.
Well, and that's the case. If you've got your child's been got a bad cough or something that might have stubbed his toe, or
you don't care if it's your child, whether you have insurance or not. Hey, you know what? You're going to treat this child, or we got a problem.
That's right. But what I'm getting at is, you could go to one of these clinics and be in and out of the thing in 20, 30 minutes, and but yet we're closing the door on the government's help for the affordable health care. This is something that we could be doing for the betterment of Louisiana, and Mike was reading in that letter how many jobs this is going to create by accepting it. I think in the state of Arkansas, wasn't it 6,000?
6,200 jobs is estimated.
New jobs that it would create right here in Louisiana.
Look, it only makes sense that if you have the insurance exchanges and you've got 2 or 3 companies, and you know what, Neil? Companies are taking a hit from Jindal turning this money down. Expand on that, Ernest.
They all are, but the thing is, he's turning it down for now, and the bad thing is, a couple of years down the line, when we've got to pay for it, when we can take that Medicare expansion right now, when we can take it, and it doesn't cost the state anything, he's turning it down. When we've got to pay for it 2 years down the line, we'll have it. And that's the irony of the whole thing.
We'll be taxing ourselves.
That's exactly right. Arkansas, a year ago, and Arkansas and Mississippi have been behind the state of Louisiana in everything that you could name for years. But they're ahead of us now when it comes to health care for residents of the state.
Well, look at what this administration did after Katrina, or not Katrina, when the money started rolling in from the federal government to help out. He didn't want to take this, he didn't want to take that, but yet Mary Landrieu, had the money, and he had gall enough to take these big checks to all these different towns and do the photo op with giving them this money on something he had nothing to do with.
What's the first thing?
It was only a photo op. Once he realized this is a way that I can accept that money and I can make it look like it was my idea and make me look good, he was glad to go take his plane or helicopter up there to those rural parishes and fly in with a big check and fly out.
Now,
that's all it was.
I got a trip. Neil brought up Katrina. I've got a trivia question for the both of you. what was the first thing that Bush Cheney and the Republican Congress wanted to do in Louisiana and Mississippi when they sent that money down here to help Katrina rebuild and all of that? What's the first action they wanted to take?
They wanted to cancel contract labor.
They wanted to cancel prevailing wages.
Prevailing wages.
Well, they did.
Well, Mary Landrieu stepped in on
Yeah,
that.
but the Bush administration stopped it.
Yeah.
That was the first thing he did. Yeah. And for the listeners, the prevailing wage is they pay a.
They wanted lower wages.
Yeah, they wanted substandard wages.
Yeah. So Ernest, what we know Lewis is at the AFL-CIO convention. What have you guys got on the agenda in the next week or so?
Lewis will be out until Thursday, Mike. And right now, there's not a whole lot that I'm doing. We're just working to make sure that we can drive home the importance of that October 19th election. That sets the stage for what happens for the upcoming Senate race and also the governor's race. That's our main objective now.
And how, I mean, y'all just going to be getting out the vote? You're going to be doing phone bank? I'm sure you're going to be needing volunteers for the phone bank and door knocking and...
We're going to need door knockers. We're going to need phone bankers. Anything that we can do to turn out voters, we're looking at doing it. Because in most of those areas, that will be the only thing on the ballot. Now, down around Livingston and some of those other areas, St. Helena, I think, there may be some little tax initiatives on the ballot. And you probably have quite a few folks going out in some of those places because of the tax.
Well, Ernest,
some places that'll be the only thing on the ballot, so we'll have to remind our folks to get out and vote.
You made a good point. I think it was 2 weeks ago that, it doesn't matter if you're in that district or not. You know somebody. I guarantee you most people know people in those districts. And that's going to be the key to this is calling and educating your friends or family members and how important it is for them to get out and vote on the 18th of August.
Just let me give you an example of how important getting out to vote is. One of our friends in that race, a state rep from the Monroe area, the election that he won to go to the state legislature, he won by less than 3 votes.
How do you win less than 3 votes?
He won by 3 votes.
Oh, I thought he said less than 3 votes. 3 votes. So what do they call him? Landslide Jim?
that just shows you, Mike, that's an example of why every vote counts.
And every vote does count. And people, but we had Dr. Ernest Johnson in earlier, Ernest, and, he was talking about the struggles and, and everything that people had to go through.
The last 21 years since
that people had to go through to get to vote. And, it does, a lot of people do take it for granted. A lot of people do take it for granted.
They take it for granted, Mike, and there's a saying, I've heard it over and over. I don't know if you've heard it, Neil, Mike, but there's a saying, and it goes especially to the African-American community. It says, hands that once picked cotton can now pick our leaders. So why wouldn't you get out and vote?
Well, I don't know. Apathy, I don't know, Ernest. I really don't. I mean,
I think times are changing. I think the people are starting to look and say, they trying to take my vote away, and that's going to make me go vote.
Okay, guys, this is Ernest, hang on. This is Baton Rouge Labor Radio on WTQT 106.1 FM. That's LP FM, and we're here every Saturday from 7 to 9 a.m. Neil Paul Miller and I, usually Ernest Stevens, Julie Cherry, Louis Wren, want to thank everybody. And if you ever want to call in, the number is 343 1075, just like Ernest called today. And here we go, Ernest. If you work for free, you'll always have a job.
Have a job.
Live better, work union, have a nice day. And thank you, Ernest. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks, Ernest.
Y'all have a good day, gentlemen.
Have a good weekend, everybody.